All right. Good morning, everybody. We had a little bit of a technical issue there. I don't know if we had a little power surge in our area with the electricity company or what, but anyway, I think we're back up and running here. So let me just jump in. And what we're going to do today is pull all of the information that we have had this week and pull it together and just give you a little bit of a sort of a way to think about this for the day and maybe over the weekend. What we've done is we've taken a couple of steps through a process designed to really understand and define maybe a better understanding or maybe more effective understanding of our the financial aspects of our life and our how we relate with or to our financial life and our money. And what we're doing is really trying to take these exercises and use them to sort of reveal a little bit more of awareness. They're really designed to give you a new awareness or refresh your awareness about your financial life or the aspects of your financial life. And with regard to increasing awareness, little things that might not seem any one of them to be a major impact, but when you collect them all together, like the receipts, for example, keeping receipts and just at the end of the month, just separating those out into two piles of what you wanted and what you needed. If it does nothing else, it does give you a new heightened awareness, perhaps that you might want to consider that if you're feeling stuck financially, there might be some patterns there that will help you more effectively engage in the relationship that you have with your financial life or your money. Working with clients for as many years as I have that end up with big tax problems, there's a common theme that I discovered some years back and a common pattern, if you will. Once they're late on a filing or a payment of a tax return for 1 year, it's almost predictable 90% of the time, 2 or more years are going to be added to that. And I think what happens is people get afraid that now they're late, they're going to get penalties. You're going to get penalties anyway. They can be abated. You're in a situation where you don't know what you don't know. And then the fear takes over, and then we get paralyzed. Beyond being stuck, we just get paralyzed, right? Good morning, Ulysses. Thanks for the call. I got it. I think we had a power surge out here in the Mount Helix area with the San Diego Gouge and Extortion, or SDG&E. Tina, good morning. Everybody else, good morning. And so this exercise that we've done this week is more about reconnecting with the relationship of the financial aspects of our life and our money, and looking at things and asking different questions. Is my relationship with my financial life or my money working for me to give me the things that I desire? In some areas, no. In some areas, there's a few things that I'm doing right now today to make more effective two things. And this is a key right here. This is kind of an important key. If you can assess and know where you're at financially and your emotional state financially, and you know and can define where you want to be at some point in the future with clarity, with purpose, and with some focus, the rest of this gets pretty easy. It's the inability to sit down and do that assessment and really understand, well, where am I financially? I feel this, I feel that. I've given you techniques this week, and I've given you some exercises that will exercise these muscles that will allow you to ask different questions and heighten the awareness, because I think that's 90% of the game that we're playing. And the game that we're playing is win the game and create the financial life that we desire. So let me jump in and get started on just how I want to pull this all together. And again, forgive the technical. It had to be the SDG. We had this happen about a month ago, but right after a rainstorm. So there's probably some utility thing down at the bottom of the hill here. So we were going through how I felt and how we were feeling about making money, spending money, saving money, investing money, and wasting money. We did all of that. We came up with one little phrase statement that we wrote, or response, and then we tied an emotion. We found a word, a single word that was an emotion. That became what we're going to call the primary emotion related to the statement that you wrote. And so we want to remember the primary emotion because it's going to give us, like the radar at the airport, at the air traffic control station, right? It's going to give us a little blip on the radar. And when we have that emotional feeling about this aspect of our money, or making money, or spending money, or saving money, it's a key to let you know where you might be in that emotional state, because so much of what we do with our money in our financial life is driven by the emotion. That we need oftentimes to remind ourselves that we need to reconnect. It's not connecting to the network. I think that's as good as the network, internet, and all this shit that we've got on the phone and all that crap. As good as that stuff is, the downside is that we get so dependent on it that we disconnect our engagement in other aspects of our life, particularly our money. Then I ask you to go through the exercise, and whatever that emotional word was, find an opposite, separate and apart. And now we're going to tie that together. So what you have in your creative writing assignment was an assignment to give you a heightened awareness, the ability to understand and assess where you feel and how you felt and where you're feeling emotionally with regard to these 5 modes of money, or aspects of money, in your financial life. And then we tied an emotion that you could tie to that would give you some sense of what that felt like emotionally in connecting with that emotion as to that, like making money or spending money or saving money. And then the opposite emotion is really the place that we're either at the primary emotion and want to go to the opposite, or we're at the primary emotion and it's working for us and we want to keep going in that direction. Or maybe the primary emotion is a negative feeling and we want to flip it and get to the other side. And then I gave you chapter 8, brain exercises, week 2, or the tab 2. You could download that from Neil and read that. And these little exercises also give you a little bit of a way that you can sort of start understanding that much of what we do is on autopilot, our auto response, the patterns that we develop. We have an eating pattern, a speaking pattern, a linguistic pattern. We have a sleeping pattern, a walking pattern. We have a pattern when we drive to the office. Of course, we're not doing that anymore since we're all working remotely. But anyway, you get my point. And what happens is the patterns develop routines. The routines are repeated. We've got habits. And then, jokingly a little bit, and maybe went a little bit over the top with John and Mrs. John, Deborah, that, it got to the point, I don't know if it got serious from a medical standpoint. I imagine that, two chocolate Frosties, if that's built, if that's how you set your life up, then not today, but like some point 10 years from now, I don't know, maybe you're going to drop dead from Frosty freeze. This works the same way with our money. And working with clients over these many years, what I've learned is that, you can have all the willpower in the world and it only works for Will. It doesn't work for me, doesn't work for you. It's not about willpower. It's about really understanding how we interact and how we relate to and with our money and our financial life. And I think part of the challenge that I've discovered is that very often we don't give it a lot of thought, right? Until it's either a big windfall, right? Oh, great. The UPS just dropped off $10,000 in cash, right? Or it's a big crisis. the engine blew out of my car, right? Some big thing. Then we're in a reactive mode. And what I think works more effectively, at least for me and in working with clients that I've discovered, is I've integrated into my life and just decided to and chose to live my life this way and set it up this way, that we being Susan and I, are going to be actively engaged every week, every month, every quarter, and every year in our money. And we don't make any financial decision that we're not in full agreement on. We can disagree about how we get there, but if we're not in full agreement, we're not investing here, we're not buying there, because there's a give and take, but we have a common goal that we're shooting for, and then we have our individual goals that work inside of that. And so money works that way by being engaged. And what this exercise was designed to do was give you a new approach, or maybe a refresh approach, of the aspects of how you relate to and with your money and your financial life. So I'm going to leave it on the proposition that more engagement is more effective at getting you the things you desire. We can have conversations about shit that maybe we don't want to address it or deal with it. But it's not gonna solve itself. It's like an IRS notice. They send it for a reason, and they've got a game plan. They've already decided what they're going to do if you ignore them. They do not like being ignored. I mean, I've learned that over almost 40 years now. So if you're not up for the challenge to contact them and deal with it, then get somebody that does. I mean, I do that. I mean, I call them all the time. But the challenge is that it's not going away, right? And the thing that we're trying to do now is figure out, well, if I can figure out where I'm at financially, and I know the state that I'm in emotionally with regard to my money, and I really do know where I want to be a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years, the key there is clarity and focus. And the more specific that you are, in both here and there, the more effective you become at being engaged with the aspects of relating to and with your money and your financial life. So it's not really that complicated. And maybe I go about the process a little bit in an unorthodox manner, but I'm going to tell you something. It's worked a lot for a lot of people to go through this process and understand that a lot of people set up a pattern where, they're on this routine where, they just don't file their taxes, and then they deal with it every 3 to 5 years. And then we see them show up every, it's just like, God, I mean, I guess that works, right? But it's not working, right? Because it's damn expensive. And so if you have things in the financial life that aren't working for you, there's a reason, and it can be tied to a pattern or a routine that is working against you and the things that you desire. And it's probably related to the fact that maybe you don't really have a true assessment of where you are financially, or clarity in where you want to be financially. And I mean specific, right? And by having that conversation with yourself and with your spouse, if you're married or have a significant other, what you get is you get confidence that these things can be worked through. I mean, we're going to have shit thrown at us, blah, 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 whatever. It's how we deal with the long game and the short game. And the short game is day to day, week to week. Oftentimes, what we find is that right before the weekend, usually on Thursday, is when a lot of people seem to have this challenge, particularly with the shopping. I don't know what it is about Thursday and the shopping network, but you can look at their revenue reports. You can look at it. It just seems like Thursday and then Friday. It just seems like are unusually high volume days where people just like have this habit of spending money. If Thursday and Friday showed up for you, I don't know that it means anything other than, when you wake up Thursday, maybe, hide your wallet, or I don't know. Just be aware. At the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do here in this process. Give you a foundation that will allow you to ask different questions and allow you to take judgment out, because this is not about judgment. I mean, that's the last thing it's about, right? If shit's not working for you, there's a reason. And oftentimes it can be traced to a pattern or a routine or a lack of engagement. And we just simply need to get, maybe step one is let's get engaged into our financial life. When we move into April, that's kind of the theme that we're going to have for April. How do you re-engage and reconnect with your financial life and those aspects? And so April's going to be all about reconnecting and redefining and regaining purpose and regaining perspective and regaining momentum financially. And there's some really cool techniques that I'm going to share with you in April. And I'll give you a couple of those as we get toward the end of March. I have used these in my practice with hundreds of clients successfully. And I can tell you, I did nothing except show them how it works. They did all the heavy lifting and did it. And their lives, financially at least, have improved dramatically as a result. And so to me, the greatest gift in all of this is the ability that you can regain control, regain the awareness, reconnect with your financial life, and live the life that we should all live, with purpose, with meaning, and with clarity, and with a lot of empathy and a lot of understanding that, yeah, we got shit that get thrown at us, but we all deserve and have a right to be rich, or however we want to define that. The challenge that we have is these patterns and these habits and these routines get set up, and they're like roadblocks, and they sort of get in our way to getting there. So my hope in the outcome for this week is that you got something good out of this. What I would really appreciate, because it helps me help you better or more effectively, drop me an email and just give me some feedback. If you want me to look at your work, I would be happy to do that on my time and my dime, and give you my comments and observations. If it will help you, I certainly would be willing to do that. Just send it to that email that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen there. But give me some feedback and give me some shares, because it will help me not only help you, but help other people that we're trying to help just simply have a better understanding and a more effective connection with your financial life and the aspects of your financial life. It's a pain in the ass. It's really a pain in the ass to have any day where you're living your life and you have you're worrying about money. I mean, I think that's one of the worst feelings that you can have. There's enough shit out in the world that we got to be focused on. I don't want to live a life worrying about anything, but I do want to be aware enough that if things aren't working for me financially, I've got to stop, and I've got to take an assessment, and I've got to reconnect, and I've got to figure out what's going on that I have these feelings of being stuck, right? And so this whole process this week was an exercise designed to get you a higher level of awareness and reconnecting with the financial aspects of your life, and giving you some cool tools and some little brain hacks that you can use anytime that you're feeling stuck. When we move to the last part going into next week of March, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build on this, and we work in three stages. The first is to get some traction, like the wheel grabs the ground. You got to get traction first. Then we want to get some momentum. We want to build some momentum. Once we build some momentum, then we want to get that flywheel effect where we can really take off leaps and bounds forward. So going into next week, we'll be building on the traction to momentum phase. We're going to start taking what we've got and what we have shared and learned up to this point in March, which today, the 12th. Today's the 12th. we're going to take all of that and then we're going to build on that going into next week to build some momentum. And I'll give you some more practical exercises that we'll share with you and engage in. And at the end, what you're going to have, if you have nothing else, is you're going to have the ability to know where you're at, assess your emotional state with regard to that, and decide if it's not working for you. You have a choice to do something different. You always have a choice to do something different, and never feel trapped that you have to do things because you have no choice. We always have another choice. Maybe it's a challenge finding it. Maybe it's a pain in the ass looking for it. Maybe it's a pain in the ass trying to have the conversation about it. But we do always have a choice. And I think that's a cool thing. I've always believed, not always, but for most of my practice life and my adult life, I've tried to live by the proposition that human beings are most effective living to their purpose and their potential when they have more choices, not fewer choices. So I don't have a lot of respect for politicians. I don't have a lot of respect for bureaucracies because they're set up contradicting what is in our nature as human beings to live to our greatest potential. They get in the way a lot, right? We just went through this permitting process to get a demo permit to demo this building that we're going to build an apartment thing on. And this is a process that should have taken maybe 3 weeks, and it's taken like 7 months. And everybody blames everybody else. It's just like, God, I mean, we just give us our permit, right? And so I see this a lot, and there's not anything I can do about it. I mean, I'm not going to change anything. So I just choose not to deal with it. I go do what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to react to it. They can be right and I'll be rich. I don't give a shit. That's at the end of the day, that's all I care about. So the world's opinion of me is none of my business, and I don't guide my life by people's opinions of what they think of me. What I think of me is important. What I think about my financial life or my financial life with our financial life with my wife is designed this way. And it works effectively because if you feel like you're not getting anywhere, there's a reason, and it's generally tied to the fact that you're not connected. And so let's reconnect. We'll build on this next week for some momentum. April is going to be totally cool because that whole thing of reconnecting and having purpose and direction financially is such a powerful force. I've seen people do remarkable things in less than 12 months financially that just that would shock you. It's just how remarkable the leaps and bounds that they've taken. And I want to share that with you because I think it's cool when we can create a financial life that we desire and have and not have that bullshit that you get up in the morning, oh shit, I got to go do this crap again, right? Nobody wants to do that, right? Got to go put up with Sally or John and his chocolate frosty shit, right? Or whatever. So anyway, last point, again, the brain exercises, chapter 8. If you didn't get a chance to read that, go ahead and read that. Send me an email, give me some feedback, and a share. And again, if you want me to take a look at it and give you some comments on your creative writing thing and your score and how you did all of that, be happy to do that. I'll make some time to do that and get it back to you, and even get on a call with you if you want. If it will help you, I'm here to help you, and that's how it works. So everybody have a great weekend. I know we've got a deal coming up with the group, the Get Started group, tomorrow. So something, John will be getting something out to everybody later today. And we've got some more exercises. So that's going to be kind of cool. And then I think that's about it. I think we're all wrapped up here trying to figure out if we're going to get some more rain today, right? I don't know. Looks like it. I don't know. Have a great weekend. Take care. And we'll talk. Hit me an email if you have any questions or you have any feedback or shares. And happy to help. All right. Take care.